Be me. 27-year-old feminist married to husband for 3 years now. He's mechanical engineer. I'm marketing coordinator at small startup company. Husband is really smart guy. Knows a lot about technical things and how stuff works. Always explaining things to me about cars, computers, home repairs, and technology. Never really minded before, but start reading more about mansplaining online recently. Learn that men explaining things to women is actually form of condescension. Realize my husband explains things to me all the time without me asking first. Start paying attention to how often he launches into explanations about various topics. Feel annoyed that he assumes I don't know things just because I'm woman. Decide I need to set boundaries about this mansplaining behavior immediately. Car makes weird noise one day, and I mention it to husband casually. He immediately starts explaining what it could be and what I should check. Tells me about engine components and what different sounds might indicate as problems. Interrupt him and say, I didn't ask for explanation. I just mentioned the noise. Tell him he's mansplaining and assuming I can't figure it out myself, obviously. He looks confused and says he was just trying to help me identify the problem. Say helping without being asked is still mansplaining, and it's condescending to me. He says, okay, sorry, I was just concerned about your car safety. Tell him I'll figure it out myself. I don't need him explaining everything to me. He goes quiet and doesn't say anything else about the car noise at all. Week later, my computer starts acting weird, running slow and freezing randomly. Mention it to husband while he's working on his laptop at home. He looks up and opens his mouth to say something, then stops and closes it. Goes back to his laptop without offering any suggestions or help like usual. Ask him if he has any ideas what's wrong with my computer. He says no, not really, and continues working on his own stuff instead. Feel annoyed that he's not helping when he clearly knows about computers. Realize he's probably still upset about me calling out his mansplaining before. Tell myself, I'll just Google the computer problem and fix it myself anyway. Spend 3 hours trying different solutions. Nothing works, computer still broken. Trying to fix garbage disposal that stopped working properly won't turn on. Husband walks into kitchen and sees me under sink with tools scattered. He watches for a moment, then starts to leave without saying anything at all. Ask him if he knows what might be wrong with the disposal unit. He says maybe, and just stands there, not elaborating or offering to help me. Ask him to tell me what he thinks the problem is so I can fix it. He says, I don't want to mansplain to you, so you should figure it out. Feel frustrated because I actually need his help this time. It's not mansplaining. Tell him I'm asking for his help, so it's not mansplaining if I'm requesting it. He shrugs and says he doesn't want to assume you can't figure it out yourself. Notice pattern developing where he stopped explaining anything to me anymore. Doesn't offer advice or information even when I'm clearly struggling with something. Just watches me struggle and says nothing, even when he obviously knows the answer. Try to assemble furniture from IKEA and can't figure out confusing instructions. He's sitting right there on couch but doesn't offer to help or explain steps. Ask him if he can help me understand these instructions. They don't make sense. He says, you told me to stop mansplaining, so I'm respecting your boundary here. Tell him this is different. I'm literally asking him for help right now directly. He says, how is he supposed to know when explaining is helping versus mansplaining? Throws my own words back at me that helping without being asked is mansplaining too. Tax season comes, and I'm confused about some forms for our joint filing. Husband usually helps me understand tax forms because he's good with numbers. Sit at table with papers spread out looking confused and frustrated by everything. He glances over, and I see him recognize I'm struggling with the forms clearly. Wait for him to offer help like he usually does every year at tax time. He just goes back to his phone and doesn't say anything to me at all. Ask him if he can explain this section of the tax form I don't understand. He says he doesn't want to condescend to me by explaining things I should know. Tell him I'm asking him directly. So it's not condescending, it's just helping partner. He says helping without being asked is mansplaining according to you last month. Realize I've created situation where husband won't share his knowledge with me. Told him explaining things was mansplaining. Now he doesn't explain anything ever. Even when I genuinely need help, he's afraid to offer because I might attack him. Feel frustrated because I need his expertise but also don't want to be mansplained to. stuck between wanting his help and maintaining my boundaries about condescension clearly. He's completely shut down and won't engage even when I'm explicitly asking for information. Didn't think calling out mansplaining would mean end of all helpful explanations forever. Assumed he'd just learn when to explain versus when not to. But he just stopped completely. Friend comes over and asks my husband technical question about her phone problem. Watch him explain it to her in detail with patience and helpful tone. He shows her exactly what to do, and she thanks him for being so helpful. Feel jealous watching him explain things to her when he won't explain to me anymore. After she leaves, ask him why he'll explain things to her, but not to me. He says, because she doesn't accuse him of mansplaining when he tries to help. Tells me she appreciates his knowledge instead of treating it like attack on her intelligence. Says he's tired of walking on eggshells, wondering if helping me will start argument. Realize I've trained him to not share information with me specifically, but helps others fine. Create a dynamic where everyone else gets his helpful explanations, except me, his wife. Planning vacation and trying to book flights. But website confusing with options. Husband clearly knows how to use this site. He books travel for work all time. Struggle with it for 30 minutes, getting increasingly frustrated by interface and choices. He's sitting next to me, and I know he could solve this in 2 minutes. Finally ask him to help me book these flights. I can't figure it out. He reaches for laptop, then pulls hand back and says, "You got this, figure it out." Tell him I've been trying for half an hour. Just help me please right now. He says I'm not allowed to help. Remember, helping without asking is mansplaining too. Remind him I'm literally asking him right now, so it's not mansplaining to help. He says, last time I helped when you asked, you got mad halfway through my explanation. Trying to understand investing options for my retirement account at work really confused. See terms like expense ratios, index funds, target date funds. Don't know what they mean. Husband works in finance adjacent field and understands all this investing stuff well. Mention. I'm confused about retirement options, and he just nods, doesn't offer to explain. Wait for him to launch into explanation like he would have a year ago before mansplaining talk. He just says good luck with that and goes back to whatever he was doing on phone. Feel frustrated that he's withholding information that could help my financial future here. Ask him directly to explain these investment terms to me so I can make good choice. He sighs and gives shortest possible answers with no context or helpful detail at all. Can tell he's deliberately not being helpful because he's still upset about mansplaining accusations. Realize our entire relationship dynamic has shifted because of this mansplaining boundary thing. He used to be engaged and helpful, sharing his knowledge freely with me about everything. Now he's completely closed off, won't share information even when I desperately need it. Feel like I'm navigating life alone without partner who used to help me understand things. Didn't realize how much I relied on his explanations until they completely stopped happening. Thought I was setting healthy boundary, but actually I just shut down communication entirely. He's not mansplaining anymore, but he's also not being helpful, supportive, or engaged partner either. Got exactly what I asked for, and turns out I didn't actually want this at all. Car issue gets worse because I never fixed it when he first tried to explain problem. Now it's expensive repair that could have been cheap fix if I'd listened to him initially. Mechanic explains what was wrong, and I realize it's exactly what husband tried to tell me. Cost me $1,200 because I shut down his explanation and didn't fix it early. Husband doesn't say, "I told you so," but I can see it in his face when I tell him cost. He just nods and says, "That's too bad about the expensive repair. Sorry about that." Doesn't explain what I should watch for in future or how to prevent this again. Just accepts that I'll figure it out myself or learn expensive way like I just did. Friend mentions she's so lucky her husband explains things and helps her learn new stuff. Says her husband taught her about car maintenance investing and home repairs over years. Feel jealous because my husband used to do that, but I shut it down completely. Realize she appreciates what I called mansplaining and has benefited from it greatly. She knows more and is more capable because her husband shares knowledge freely with her. I know less and am less capable because I rejected my husband's knowledge as condescension. She's empowered by her husband's explanations. I'm limited by refusing them from mine. Different perspective. Same behavior, completely different outcomes based on how we received it. Bring up issue with husband. Tell him I miss when he used to explain things to me. He says he misses it too, but he's not going through mansplaining accusations again. Tell him I understand now that he was just trying to be helpful, not condescending. He says, how is he supposed to know when you'll appreciate it versus get angry about it? Tells me he can't read my mind about when explaining is welcome versus when it's attack. Says it's easier to just not explain anything than to guess wrong and start fight. Ask him if we can start over, and he can go back to explaining things like, before. He says no because he doesn't trust that I won't throw mansplaining in his face again. Realize I've broken his trust in this area, and he won't risk being vulnerable by helping. Year later, and we're still in this weird dynamic where he doesn't explain anything to me. I've learned to Google everything myself, or ask other people instead of asking him. He still explains things freely to friends and coworkers, just not to me at all. Our relationship feels more distant, because we don't have those teaching moments anymore. Used to bond over him showing me how things work. Now we just exist separately. Realized those explanations weren't about him thinking I was stupid. They were about connection. He was sharing his knowledge and interests with me, trying to bring me into his world. I rejected it as condescension when it was actually a form of intimacy and partnership. Now, we're roommates who happen to be married, instead of partners who learn together. Still can't bring myself to apologize directly, because that means admitting I was wrong. Would mean acknowledging that calling out his mansplaining damaged our relationship permanently. Easier to just live with distance and figure things out myself than admit I overreacted. But I'm lonely in marriage where my husband won't share himself with me anymore. Watch other couples where men explain things to their wives and feel jealous of dynamic. They're learning together and bonding while we're separately existing in same space alone. Told myself I was setting boundaries, but really I was building walls between us. Now I'm on one side and he's on the other, and neither of us knows how to get back.